If you've turned on the news this week, you've probably seen Fauci testifying, diary entries, Senate hearings, headlines everywhere. And if watching that dragged you right back into 2020, the fear, the confusion, the arguing, the whiplash, I want you to know you're not alone. A lot of my patients felt it this week, including myself, so much where I had to podcast on it. That specific low-grade dread of, oh no, here we go, we're doing this again. It really is just flashback. It's almost PTSD. And here's what I want to say clearly right up front. I'm not here to relitigate any of it. Not him, not the hearing, not who was right. I'm not weighing in on that circus, and I'm not asking you to either. Unvaccinated, vaccinated, boosted, hesitant, long COVID, vaccine injured, however you landed on any of it, you're welcome in this conversation, because that's not actually the question I care about anymore. Nope. Hi, I'm Dr. Emily Wheeler, 20 years in functional medicine, looking for the patterns most people miss. Yeah, I'm less interested in relitigating 2020. I'm more interested in helping you feel better right now. And I want to say something today that might sound strange with all that noise in the background. I'm actually grateful for COVID. Not for what it cost us, for what it changed. So let me be clear. What I'm not grateful for, I'm not grateful for the lives lost, for the isolation, the fear, the family torn apart, the people still living in the aftermath in their own bodies right now. None of that. But something shifted underneath all of that. And that's the part I will not apologize for being grateful for. Here are 5 things that changed for the better. 5 things I watch play out in my office every single week. Number 1, people stopped accepting your labs are normal as the final answer. So before COVID, a clean panel usually ended the conversation. Now patients push back. I know something's wrong. Keep looking. That muscle didn't disappear once COVID left the headlines. Number 2, root cause thinking went mainstream. So inflammation, immune dysregulation, mitochondrial health, these used to be words I only used. Now patients bring them up before I do. 3, complex conditions finally got taken seriously. No kidding. POTS, MCAS, the kind of exhausting, hard to diagnose symptoms that would just get waved off as anxiety. Millions of people developed a COVID version of that pattern almost overnight, and it made the world pay attention to something patients had been saying for years. 4, people started asking for real testing, not just a CBC and a TSH, full thyroid panels, nutrient status, gut testing, histamine testing. Because a 15-minute visit stopped being enough for people who wanted the whole picture. Number 5, doctors got permission to say, I don't know yet. COVID forced medicine to be honest about uncertainty in public on a massive stage, and that normalized something functional medicine already believed. I don't have to know the full answer today, but let's keep investigating. That's a legitimate thing for a doctor to say out loud and not feel the ego to say, I know everything. So I'm going to tell you a story about Terry. Okay. Terry came to me almost 2 years after COVID. She had COVID and she was still exhausted. She was still foggy. Every conventional workup came back clean. And Terry had been told more than once it was probably just anxiety. Terry didn't believe it. Neither did I. So we didn't guess. We started with testing. We started with the timeline. Infection, symptoms, stress, hormones, history. Then we looked underneath. The mitochondrial stress, an immune system still running hot months after the virus was gone. Nutrient stores that had been quietly drained the whole time. Nobody was looking. None of that showed up on the standard panel. And all of it's showing up on how someone feels every single day. 6 months later, Terry wasn't running marathons. She was just back. Back to making dinner without needing a nap first. Back to finishing a sentence without losing the thread. That story isn't unique. I've watched it play out again and again since 2020. People whose immune systems never fully stood down, who recovered, whose energy production got quietly wrecked, who spent years being told there was nothing more than what anyone could do. That body just doesn't care about Twitter arguments. It just wants to heal, and there's almost always more you can do. You just have to be willing to go looking for it. That's the part of this that gives me hope. Not the virus, not the headlines this week, the fact that more people than ever are finally getting someone to ask why, and finally getting their lives back because somebody did. If you're one of those people and you still haven't felt like yourself since 2020, infection, vaccine, or both, it doesn't matter which, please hear this. Your labs are normal is not the end of the conversation. It's the beginning of a better question. So if this week's news has you spiraling back into 2020 in your head, I get it. But I don't want to leave you in this episode there. I want you to leave it remembering that something good actually came out of it all. People stopped accepting silence as the answer, and it's still happening in offices like mine every single week. Your symptoms aren't random. Your body is talking. Let's listen.